Good afternoon. This is your Sir Erwin Mormon, and this is our alternative learning material 1 for our lesson 1. Our first lesson in creative writing is all about the introduction of the subject. We will know what creative writing is, what is the scope of our subject, what is the coverage of this course, and what you will be expecting in the duration of our class. Our subject covers the famous classic and contemporary written works of famous writers, poets, and novelists. We will also be studying the elements that comprises creative writing. We will be focusing on making of fictions, reading fictions of different famous writers. We will be introduced to different literary devices such as figures of speech. And also, we will study the styles and techniques employed by different writers in their famous works. When you say creative writing from the word itself, this is a form of writing that is creative. This is something entertaining. It appeals to your emotion and intellect. Always remember that creative writing is a form of art. That is why there is a course in college which is fine arts major in creative writing. So if you wanted to pursue a career in creative writing, then I suggest you take fine arts major in creative writing. So this only proves that creative writing is not just a subject, it's not just a form of writing, but it is an art equivalent to other forms of art. Alright? Creative writing does not only focus on the use of words or flowering words. Alright? It also focuses on the style of the writer, on how he or she evokes emotion, on how she creates an image, on how he or she convey an impact to his or her readers or audience. Always remember that the brain of creative writing is imagination. You need imagination in order for you to create something that is genuinely beautiful, that is somehow far from reality, but is something that is showing something about reality. Through our imagination, we could discover a different world, a world that we can compose through writing, a world that we could show to the world through words, through the creative use of words. Remember that imagination is so powerful. Without imagination, there will be no great artist. Without imagination, there will be no great writers, great storytellers. Again, imagination is the brain of creative writing. Without a good sense of imagination, you cannot write anything good. Okay? If imagination is the brain, then you might be asking, what is the heart of creative writing? The heart of creative writing is the emotion. When you write something, you need to have emotion. Your output must have an emotional impact to your readers. It must appeal to the emotional aspect of your readers. In what way or how? Emotion plays a vital role in making what we are writing something that is something relatable, something real, something that could trigger our feelings, our emotional aspect, and something that could make us think of something. Emotion could either make you cry, make you laugh, make you angry, make you stressed about something about that story or about the realities of life. Emotion is co-equal of imagination when it comes to creative writing. Without it, you cannot write a relatable piece of art. If imagination is the brain and emotion is the heart of creative writing, then you might be asking, what is the hand or the feet of creative writing? So the hands and the feet of creative writing, or in other words, I term it the foundation of creative writing, is your experience or the experience of your readers. So when we say experience, these are the things that we have gone through in our lives. And through those experiences, we could gain something, a certain image, a part of that experience that we could integrate to our story to make it more relatable, to make it more unique, to make it more pure. Creative writing shows experience, and it also teaches you to experience something that you might not have experienced in the real world. Experience is essential to make the words in our output alive. Because of experience, our creative writing output becomes alive. Okay? Always remember that without the good use of words, you will never be a good writer. Good writer does not use basic words. He or she uses specific and exact words to convey a meaning or story to his audience. Wordplay is very important in creative writing. While this subject will teach you or will enhance your vocabulary skills, it also requires a good vocabulary standards, meaning you have to have a wide perspective on the use of words. Do not use basic common words. You use something that is new but understandable. Do not use too highfalutin word that could destroy the essence of your story. Ano ang pulos sang madalom nga words kung hindi ka-intindihan ng mo readers? Okay? So as creative writers, dapat kabalo kita magmana-mana kung ano ang mga tama nga words nga gamiton naton when we are writing. Another point in creative writing is that it is limitless or boundless, meaning you can write about anything. This subject measure how much you are fluent in a certain language. I'm not talking about English alone. Okay? This will also show kung mayad ikaw sa Hiligaynon or Tagalog. That is why this subject is open to all languages na available sa aton. I would love to see nga ginagamit nyo ang Hiligaynon magsulat kamo. We need to embrace our own dialect. That is why may mga activities kita in the future na Hiligaynon ang ganito natin na language or kung ano man nga dialect ang may ara kita. Paghambal or maghambal kita creative writing, hindi lang na siya poetry ha. It could be a short story. It could be a novel. Anything fiction or fictitious. But the closest example dabi sa creative writing are your poetry. And that is correct. Poetry is a form of creative writing. Poetry is an art. If ang pagkasulat niya is manami kag pulido. So this is the definition of creative writing. In a way, you can Google it naman. This is available and there are different definitions on the internet. But this is how we define it. Creative writing is any writing that is original, artistic, and self-expressive. Take note of the word original. So when we say original, therefore, it is something that is authentic. It should be something na ikaw ang nagsulat. It is something na ang concept, ang theme must be original, nga ikaw lang ikaw ang nagpanumdum, nga wala mo lang ginkawat sa iban. So when we say kawat in writing, that is a form of plagiarism. Kung ginkopya mo ang iya sinulatan, ginkopya mo ang literature or this specific kind of literary piece nga wala mo gin credit ang writer, then that is a form of plagiarism. So take note of that, okay? So again, creative writing is a writing that is original. Also, na-mention ang word na self-expressive. So, in creative writing, you are trying to express yourself. Mayara sa atin nga, we cannot talk orally. Ibala, nahuya kita, nadlok kita. Especially yung mga introvert. Alright? But, through writing, nila na i-express ila self. Ang hindi nila mahambal personal, na i-express nila through writing. The purpose of creative writing is to entertain and share human experiences, and that it does not so by expressing feelings or thoughts that are born out of the imagination, as you can see in poetry, fiction, plays, and personal essays. Because it uses a lot of imagination, creative writing is also called imaginative writing or literature, as opposed to the technical or academic writing, the main goal of which is to present. Take note, creative writing is different from technical or academic writing. While creative writing is imaginative, ang technical or academic writing is, ang goal niya is to present facts. Creative writing is far different from that. Gusto niya ni creative writing nga i-entertain kita, nga mag-share something about human experiences. That is why magsulat kita dapat mayaman sa feelings kag thoughts ang aton nga ginasulat. Kag dapat may kita mag-imagine some things. For example, I would like you to write something about an egg. Creatively nga pagsulat. How would you do that? You would say that the egg is white. The egg is oblong in size. So when you describe that in such a way, you are stating a fact, you are presenting a fact, and that is not creative writing, that is technical writing. Now, paano natin, or paano kita makasulat something creative about the egg? For example, the whiteness of the egg reminds me of the sky when you left me. The clouds were forming. Just like how fragile an egg is, I was left succumbing to the rain, waiting to be cracked by the thunder and lightning. Okay, so that is just an example, guys, and that is creative writing. It appeals to your emotion. So how did I wrote that kind of experience or that kind of narrative? So the whiteness of the egg was compared to the skies, meaning the clouds are forming. Puti ang langit. Kung mag-form ang clouds sa langit, maputi, or it could be dark white, something like that, meaning manug-ulan. Okay, and that also symbolizes a heavy feeling, something something sad ka, lost, depressed, or anxious. So that's what the sky or the white or the dark white sky symbolizes. It is compared to an egg. Very simple, but something creative. So that is creative writing. Again, academic writing presents facts, while creative writing presents entertainment and human experiences. Okay? Now, what are the benefits of writing? As we all know, there are numerous benefits that we could get from writing. Okay? Since our elementary grade, we were taught on how to write properly, starting from the alphabet on how to write them in a piece of paper or on a piece of paper, and then later on we were taught on how to write a sentence or a word sentence, and then essay or paragraph, and so on. And we cannot deny the power of writing. Kumbaga, writing is not just a skill, it's a gift. Why? Because of writing we could be able to improve our communication skills. Alright? Through writing we could be able to interact with other people. That is one of the most important benefits that we could get from writing. And I know that there are a lot more, but let's find out what are this, or what are some of the benefits of writing. So writing fulfills your basic need to associate with other people. The more you write, the more you will be able to establish a connection with them. Also, the better you will understand them. So, basic need to associate with other people. So, it talks about communication, interaction, association with other people in a way that you connect with them when you are writing. One example is that text messaging, or chatting through Messenger, or commenting on a Facebook post. That is associating with other people. You are typing your words there, or you are writing your words there, and then you are expressing yourself, you are sharing something, and then if that person or specific group of person replies to your message, then therefore there is an association, there is a communication, there is an interaction. Okay, so another form why it helps us, or it fulfills our need to associate with other people, is that, let's say for example I am writing something about a person who had infected, or who had been infected by COVID-19. I will feature his story. Then what will I do? What will I do in order for me to squeeze the fact, to extract her or his story? Of course, I will conduct an interview. So when you conduct an interview, of course, you are having a communication with a person. And if there is a conversation, there is a communication or association with that person. Another example why it fulfills our needs to associate with others is that, for example, let's say I have published a book, then I have written it exclusive to a certain group of readers, for example, mga teens or pang teens na bining a book, and then I receive a lot of feedbacks from my readers. It could be negative or positive. So in that way, there is an association. They have reacted on what I have written. They have given their feedbacks on what I have written. That is association with other people. Next, writing helps you become better thinkers and learners. Of course, when you are writing, you are exhausting your mental capacity. You are using your mental power in order for you to imagine things. You are using your cognitive ability in order for you to create an emotion, in order for you to recall an experience or to make an experience that is relatable to your readers. When you start writing, you are writing something that should have an impact, or that should have a sense. Okay? But when it is creative writing, therefore it needed, or it needs something na dapat padalman mo panumdum. In that way, you are using your brain, you are using your mental capacity, your cognitive ability, and when you are doing that, you are also becoming a better thinker. And from time to time, as time goes by, it improves. Okay? Your thinking or your brainstorming process is healthy for your brain. Alright? Next, writing develops your performance in school. Of course, it does. So again, since our elementary grade, hasta mag-college ka mo, you will be taught on how to write properly. It's either technical or creative, or it could be both. So it develops your performance in school. Almost ninyo nga subject nag-require magsulat ka mo. That is why hindi na ka mo ma-surprise if damo ka mo mga outputs ni ipasa. Because it's a need, it's a requirement. You need to comply in order for you to be enhanced. And that is why writing is important in developing your performance in school. Now let's proceed to the core of our lesson 1 of our first discussion, which is the creative and academic writing. Again, earlier we have said that creative writing's purpose is to present entertainment and share human experiences, whereas academic writing, its goal is to present facts. Alright? When we say academic writing, it is purely technical. Take note, purely technical, meaning it has rules. It is direct. It is straightforward. It is heavy in content, and it is serious in tone and style. It's formal writing, in short. And when we say academic writing, take note of the root word of the word academic. The root word of academic is academe, meaning school or college. Thus, we could say that these are forms of writing, or these are types of writing that is related to school, or that is being used by school. Example, your textbook. Your textbook is an example of academic writing. And we have several forms of creative writing. We have your expository and persuasive writing. When we say expository writing, from the word expose, meaning you are trying to share or expose an information to your reader to make them aware of something. Example is your informative essay. That is expository writing. When we say persuasive writing, meaning that is a kind of writing where you are trying to persuade your readers to believe on something that you are believing. Example are your editorials or your opinion articles. We also have descriptive and narrative writing. So forms of essays, different kinds of essays are also under or categorized under academic writing. We have your book reports, writing business letters, resumes, and application letters. In the future, when you are searching for a job, you will be required to write letters or resumes. So those belong to academic writing. Always remember that. We also have technical writing. So when you say technical writing, an example of this is journalism. Alright, journalism. We also have writing literary analysis. When we say literary analysis, you are trying to critique a certain piece of literature. It could be a book, it could be a poem, it could be a short story, or a novel, for example. We also have writing research paper. I believe that you have underwent through research 1 and research 2 already, and your outputs in those subjects are examples of research paper that is under academic writing. Alright, again take note, academic writing is purely technical. How about creative writing? Creative writing, on the other hand, is loosely technical. So when we say loosely technical, it is not that strict. You have your freedom as a writer. You have the authority to control what you will be writing without conforming to any rule. That is why it is loosely technical. Even though there are embedded rules within the kind of creative writing that you will be writing, but in general form, creative writing is loosely technical. You don't have to worry about being not able to conform to a specific rule, because it is free writing. So meaning you have the freedom, you have the authority to write what you want to write and what do you think is right for you. Under creative writing, we have three major branches. We have the poetry, fiction, and creative non-fiction. When you say poetry, of course, this is the most common example of creative writing, your poetry. So we have three forms or types. We have the free verse poems. So when you say free verse poems, these are contemporary types of poems wherein there is no rule, there is no numbers or required numbers of matters, there is no required rhyme scheme. It could be written in an essay form, but the content is poetic. Example of a poet who is very good at writing free verse poem is Lang Lieb. So she is a contemporary writer, and she wrote mostly free verse poems. Alright, so wala ni siya sukat, wala tugma, or kung ano pa da nga mga elements nga nakikita natin sa usual nga poems. Okay, free verse poems. So example nga, pinaka-example niya nga format is the prose poetry. Take note, prose poetry. So when we say prose poetry, ang iya itsura is naka-essay form, but ang content niya is poetic. Instead of using a line, you are using a sentence. Instead of using a stanza, you are using a paragraph sa prose poetry niya. That is free verse poems. Next we have the short lyrical poems. So when we say short lyrical poems, these are the most common type of poetry. So naka-stanza, naka-line, may rhyme scheme, tumutugma or nag-rhyme ang kada line. That is short lyrical poem. Example of short lyrical poem is your sonnet, elegy, villanelle. So short lyrical poems, may mga types nga, may mga i-complying a number of lines, number of matter. So may ara sa short lyrical poems. Even the lyrics of a song are considered to be a form of poetry. Great poets such as Shakespeare, James Joyce uses this kind of poetry form sa ilang mga sonnet, okay, sa ilang elegy or ode. Okay, next we have the long epical poems. When we say long epical poems, these are the longest forms of poetry. This is a narrative story about a character who has a supernatural power, but ang pagkasulat niya is naka-line, naka-stanza. Some of the epic or epical poems has hundreds of pages and thousands of stanzas. Example, there is sa Philippines, ang pinakasikat na epic or long epical poem is Biag ni Lamang. There is sa Panay, we have Panay Bukidnon. Okay, so that is an example of epic poems. Under siya sa poetry, which is under sa creative writing. Alright, let's proceed to the next branch of creative writing, which is the fiction. So when we say fiction, it is something that is not real. Something that is just a product of imagination. Playful imagination of a writer. And we have three forms of fiction. We have the short stories. When we say short stories, lipot lang yan sila. Okay? So, dasig ang facing ng story. Pila lang ka pages. Kaya mo tapusin sa isa ka basahan. That is short story. Example, mga classic short story dito sa Philippines. We have The Wedding Dance, The Fence, The Mulabi Tree, The Legend of Isla Pulang Pasayan by Peter Solis Neri, and many more. Okay? Damo-damo examples ng short story, yung mga manaming short story dito sa aton. The next form of fiction is your novelettes. So when we say novelettes, laba-laba lang ni sila gamay sa short story. Example sini nila is Wattpad. Okay? And ang pinakamadakmo sa ilang tanan is ang novels, nakalibro. Examples are your Hunger Games, Maze Runner, Divergent series, Harry Potter, The Lord of the Rings, and many others. So that is novels under sa fiction, categorized as creative writing. Next we have creative non-fiction. If fiction is something that is product of imagination, when we say non-fiction naman, it is something that is real. So nga man, nabilong siya sa creative writing. Nabilong siya sa creative writing if ang pagkasulat niya is creative. The content is non-fiction or true or matuod. It happens in real life. But ang style sang writer sa pagsulat niya sang story nga ina is creative. Meaning, he or she does not appeal only to the human experience but also to the use of words na gina-reflect or na-reflect sa iyang style sa pagsulat. Pwede siya magsulat nga very entertaining, mapakadlaw ka or mapatangis ka, but the content is existing. The content is true, kumbaga. Examples ng creative non-fiction in you is your essay. So there are types of essay na makonsider natin yung creative non-fiction. Example are your feature stories na na-publish sa mga magazine. We have your literary reportage, your letters, diaries, or journals, biographies and autobiographies, articles or reviews, travelogue, blogs, and memoir. Okay, so those are creative nonfiction. You will be having a separate subject for this on the second semester, so watch out for that. Okay, so questions? If you have questions, you can message me anytime through my messenger. Okay, but before that, let's have an activity first. What you're going to do is to identify whether the following is academic or creative writing. Okay, I will give you at least 5 seconds per statement or title to identify whether they are academic or creative writing. Okay, so first one, please identify the surrender speech of John F. Kennedy. Is this academic or creative? Okay, the correct answer there is academic writing. So speeches are considered to be formal. Speeches are considered to be academic. Alright. Next, Harry Potter by J.K. Rowling. Of course, this is a novel. This is creative writing. One of the most famous book series in the whole world. And J.K. Rowling, for your information, is the first writer who became billionaire because of her work. And that is Harry Potter. Okay? Next, ways to travel abroad easily. Alright, this is a form of travelogue. Therefore, this belongs to creative nonfiction, and creative nonfiction falls under creative writing. Alright, next, opinion article in the Philippine Star. This is an example of persuasive writing, which belongs to academic writing. Okay? How about informative essay about the COVID-19? Very good. This is an example of academic writing. Movie review for Enola Holmes. Correct. This is a review. Therefore, this belongs to creative nonfiction under creative writing. The written advertisement by Coca-Cola. Alright, so if it is informative and at the same time entertaining, this belongs to creative nonfiction, which falls under creative writing. Okay? How about To the Filipino Youth by Dr. Jose Rizal? Alright, this is Dr. Jose Rizal's poem to the Filipino youth. And when we say poem or poetry, it belongs to creative writing rather. Alright, poetry, creative writing. The Song Halls of Gilmer. Of course, it's a song. It's a lyrical poetry, therefore it is creative writing. Monologue in a play. Of course, creative writing, it's a play. When we say play, these are dramatic presentation that is supposed to be performed on stage. And when we say monologue, it is a part of a play wherein one character is given an exclusive time to highlight his or her emotion through talking or conversing directly to the audience. Okay, that is creative writing. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your time. I hope you have learned something today. God bless.
Well, here's to the hearts that you're gonna break. Here's to the lives that you're gonna change. Here's to the infinite possible ways to love you. I want you to have it. Here's to the good times we're gonna have. You don't need money, you got a free pass. Here's to the fact that I'll be sad without you. I want you to have it all.